Welcome back. It's another beautiful day and I've got my coffee, so let's watch some stuff.
I'm about to tell you a bone-chilling revelation about the Ice Age that will send shivers down your spine. During the Ice Age, the ocean levels dropped, exposing the Bering Strait land bridge between Asia and what is now Alaska. Our ancestors, coming out of Africa, headed into Europe. Some decided to settle while others continued their journey. Some stayed near the Mediterranean and others ventured to higher grounds. They eventually populated Asia. They keep walking because there's a land bridge there. They don't even know it's a bridge, it's just more land. So they walk and they enter North America from there. That's kind of only way you can go with south. At that point, the weather gets a little better. As the Ice Age concluded, the glaciers melted into the ocean. The rising ocean levels closed the land bridge, trapping a group of humans for 10,000 years. Europe, Asia, Africa, and North and South America became isolated, with no knowledge of each other. Two separate branches of the human species. Then Columbus crosses the Atlantic, makes contact with humans. This is the first time that has happened in 10,000 years. We have rejoined two branches of the human species.
I'm fairly certain that those words were originally spoken by Neil deGrasse Tyson because I vaguely remember hearing him say just that. It's interesting to think about how humans spread from one continent to the other and then got trapped and just evolved there for thousands of years until, we came back together again. That's pretty cool. I just want to take a second. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for today's coffee talk. If you're having a good time, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button and come back tomorrow because I'm making a new video every day.
Within a few centuries, sea levels rose 500 feet. This is fast in geologic time. But as more evidence was gathered, melting appeared to happen in a matter of decades. This would cause dramatic changes in the Earth's climate. But when recent ice core samples were studied, things got even more dramatic. There's evidence that the last ice age didn't end over centuries or decades, but ended in one single day. Some claim that an asteroid impact caused the last ice age to end. A worldwide disaster like the Chicxulub impact that wiped out the dinosaurs. That's not what happened. An impact causes cooling. Recent studies show that there was a major solar event that happened around 9700 BC, basically the mother of all CMEs.
I always love watching his videos. They're always so good and you just learn so much and it's so easy to follow along with. Over my research in the last couple of days, I've put together a couple of theories. Well, I didn't put them together. They're proper theories, and I think the two of them coincide without even admitting that they do. It's the Younger Dryas theory by, let me get my notes, by Graham Hancock. And then there is the coronal mass ejection theory with Dr. Schock. Robert Schock, I believe. Might be Richard Schock. Robert Schock. Sorry if I got it wrong.
Yes, hello. I've been dying to talk about the Younger Dryas impact theory. Nearing the end of the last ice age, the temperatures spiked, causing a lot of the glaciers to melt. But then, surprisingly, all of the temperatures dramatically dropped. This is called the Younger Dryas event, and it lasted around 1200 years. Temperatures plummeted over 30 degrees, and a bunch of megafauna went extinct. Yes, gone, extinct. There's a lot of theories about why this happened, but my favorite is the impact theory. It was a recent theory from 2007, but it had little evidence to back it up until 2018, when scientists discovered something hidden in the melting glaciers of Greenland. A large meteorite impact crater that was buried more than a half a mile beneath the ice. The crater is one of the largest on the planet. It's 1,000 feet deep and 19 miles across. There's still a lot of research to be done, but if this did hit in the last ice age, then it would have caused the Younger Dryas event and a mini apocalypse.
This is a huge controversy in science at the moment. We know that there was enormous flooding 12,800 years ago. But the question is what caused it? Why did it happen there? And there's a very powerful theory, which is now backed by more than 100 mainstream scientists, that the Earth passed through the debris stream of a disintegrating comet. And that theory is called the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. And those several bits of that disintegrating comet might have been pretty big, maybe up to a kilometer in diameter. And they landed on the North American ice cap, generating huge amounts of heat. Tremendous shock wave hits the ice cap. And it turns that ice into water, and it rushes down southwards, fills up these lakes, overflows these lakes, and tears up the landscape underneath it. And this Younger Dryas impact hypothesis is by far, in my view, the best explanation of what's going on.
I am well aware that this has been out for a while, but this is the first that I'm hearing of it, and I just find it absolutely fascinating. So I definitely wanted to share it. For those of you who haven't heard of it before, just like me, you're in a little bubble. It's so cool, and it makes a lot of sense how we must have I say we, but I mean the Earth must have traveled through a debris stream and got hit. And like the video I played yesterday about the evidence that there was uh, comet debris that had landed on the planet, and then the evidence of the ice core samples. It's just it all goes together, and it's really fantastic, and it makes a lot of sense.
I believe the solar events, the solar outburst, some people now refer to as a micronova, that caused the demise of the end of the last ice age and the demise of civilizations at that time. This was a very violent, catastrophic time. I believe that buildings were literally falling down, if you would. We see broken pillars, specifically at Göbekli Tepe, where they were knocked over. They tried to re-erect them and then covered over to protect it, because the best way to protect from a solar outburst and the phenomena associated with a solar outburst would be to pack it in dirt, in earth, in rock, in stone, and to cover it over and bury it. We also have scorching plasma, electrically charged particles, electrons, protons, sometimes heavier nuclei that come down, that are given off by the sun. You have exceptional solar outbursts. You have them in much more abundance, very fast, coming down to Earth, sometimes known as solar proton events, solar particle events, coronal mass ejections. This is associated with solar flares. And in some cases, this will actually touch down. You can think of the equivalent of huge lightning bolts, but much bigger than atmospheric lightning, touching down, hitting, literally scorching the surface of the Earth. We actually have evidence of this in what's known as vitrification. When you have a major solar event like that, you disrupt the magnetosphere, you disrupt the ionosphere, you disrupt the ozone layer, you have all these massive particles coming in, you have what are basically cascades of radiation because they're interacting with atoms in the atmosphere. You have very high radioactive levels on the surface of the Earth. So among other things, you because of this radiation and because of the depletion of the ozone layer, etc., it becomes very dangerous on the surface of the Earth, to the point where you can suffer from enough radiation in a few days to kill a large mammal. So literally, it would be unsafe to be on the surface of the Earth. A very efficient way to survive this is to go underground. In 1859, we had a very minor solar event from an astrophysical perspective. It's known as the Carrington event. That was two what are known as coronal mass ejections in sequence, which were also associated with major solar flares. They caused the telegraph lines to go haywire, telegraph stations burnt down, etc. But they were relatively minor compared to what happened at the end of the last ice age, which would have been orders and orders of magnitude greater. We now have connections between solar activity and unusual solar activity and earthquakes. Plus, you have precipitation,
Oh,
rain,
really?
literally, because you are melting so many glaciers at the end of the last ice age, virtually instantaneously being hit by the plasma discharges. Again, think of huge lightning or think of fire hitting ice and water. So you're putting all this moisture into the atmosphere. The atmosphere can only hold so much moisture, so it comes down as rain. It comes down as flash floods at the same time that the sea levels are rising. So you've got the sea levels rising, you've got incredibly destructive flash floods, you've got radiation levels on the surface, you've got earthquakes. In areas that are prone to volcanic activity, you'll set off more volcanic activity. That there was increased earthquake and volcanic activity at the end of the last ice age. So you've got all these different things going on. It was really a calamitous time. And we talk about the solar-induced dark age because we have the end of the last ice age. We have the demise of this early period of civilization. And we go into a dark age. But, enough humans survived in pockets to then reboot, if you would. And they survived for about 6,000 years and slowly rebuilt, reemerged, regained the knowledge, learned, etc.
If we can put those two theories together, it makes a lot of sense that the Earth passed through a debris field and those impacts caused the water vapor to go up, which did the greenhouse effect thing, making ice melt rapidly. And then once that passed, it froze again, right? Super freeze, causing the megafauna to go extinct. And that must have devastated also the civilization that was around as well. The civilization, the people who built the pyramids. And then there was the solar event, and that caused the super rapid heat up and did even more devastation to the structures that were here and that civilization as well. There must have been some survivors from the previous civilization. They must have like hid out underground or something like that and then carried on once the devastation was over. I don't know, that's incredible. It's incredible to think about how human species could have been through that. On that note, I think that's where we're going to end it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Here's my cutting room floor. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do this as good as I can. Whoa. That's just rad. I love stuff like that. I'm pretty sure, vaguely remember, I'm fairly certain. So I'm pretty sure that I'm fairly certain thing, but that one was, oh, that's not the one that there was another one. Okay, that we're going to look at tomorrow or on another day. There was another one. Or I'm very oblivious to a lot of stuff that's been happening in the outside. Sorry. Dropped something. Dropped my notes. All right, so to put it all together, I'm going to be redundant and repeat everything you just heard in the last 15 minutes. So my brain's about to put this all together. I know the ones who built the pyramids, right? Basically, all right, that was rad, huh? Melt, and that devastates the ocean, the currents. Bad. So my brain is going to really quickly put all of those together. I know you stuck around for a long time, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it because it's suddenly warm and then it's suddenly cold again. So it's a heat up, a cool down, and then a heat up again. And that devastates so much. And then after that warm up, there's a cool down. Make sure it's going right in my brain. And I'm probably not the first one to think this. But this is the first time that I've thought it, and I think it's rad. Well, we got some rain last night, so it was a little muddy. And at least it's calmed down right now. It is windy, so I hope you can hear me. And yeah, day 3.